Hello. So, no matter how bad this turns out, I'm putting it up just so I can get over the initial fear and anxiety of doing that step. I think once I get past that step of actually putting it out there, then I can move on to the next phase of the journey. So, I have lots of cool ideas to do with this channel, and I'm really excited to get started on it. So I don't have the greatest setup at the moment, but that's okay. We're gonna take what we have and roll with it. So I just wanted to introduce myself, introduce the channel, and let you know what I'm up to here. I started my spiritual journey when I was really little. When I was really little, I wanted to be an angel. And if I couldn't be an angel, I wanted to be a pastor. And that was until I found out that to be a pastor, you had to go to a special school and get education. And I like to learn by spirit. So that's how I've been trained in my spiritual journey since I was very little, is crazy things would happen. And I would listen to the advice of spirit and get through them. And then I learned to start asking questions and listen for the answers and then see how they showed up in my life. And it's been quite amazing, actually. And I would love to share some of the things that I've learned along the way. So this isn't my most natural medium. This is not the medium I would choose to have these sorts of conversations. I think especially when you're talking about spirit, one-on-one and more refined, nuanced communication is easier, so that the message would be more tailored to an individual that I was talking to directly. Something about their life would have meaning, something about my life would have meaning, and we would exchange. So let's see if we can do this anyways, through what we have available to us. I guess I wanted to touch on a little bit why I'm naming the channel what I'm naming it, The Poor Person's Guide to Enlightenment. And that is mostly because about 10 years ago, I think when social media really started erupting, and with it, the spiritual movement got a little loud, and people were finding each other and talking about things that were a little bit more taboo or harder to find previously. I was super excited. I was so excited. It felt like for the first time, some of the things that had previously made me feel like outcast and, like I was crazy. Literally, I've had people say that I was crazy for my beliefs and completely misunderstand things. A metaphor is not always easy. It's not always easy to describe some of the weird transcendent experiences a person can have, and then they can be completely misinterpreted by someone who isn't on the path. They could care less about spirituality. To them, it is nonsense, and that's okay. But if that's all you're interacting with, you can really question yourself. So it was so nice when we had social media and we could all kind of talk and share stories, and all the people who could see auras and could sense energies and felt like they were communing or talking to God or angels, or even people who believe they're channeling other kinds of entities. There's a gambit of, of stuff out there, and those things suddenly became accessible and acceptable in many circles. But I still did not feel welcome. And largely because a lot of it quickly became about life coaching, and it became about manifesting, and it became about kind of law of attraction stuff. And it felt like people were encouraged to take spirituality and use it like a magic wand to improve their life and improve their standing in life, which obviously your spirituality is going to speak to your life. It's going to influence your life. For me, it's always worked a little bit the opposite, where my physical life is informing and teaching my spirit. And so everything is a lesson, everything is something that can make me grow as a soul and gain more insight into the workings of metaphysics, of reality, of what is possible and what is potential and what is God and why do we all experience the understanding of this so differently. Those are all things that are really intriguing to me, and so I didn't really vibe well with the, I guess that side of things, that where the spiritual movement took a rather, um, a right turn towards like abundance thinking, abundance mindset, and manifesting. Because I'd already had that. I was very much in an abundant mindset, but I was very poor. I always have been. I just never really needed very much. And so I couldn't go to any of the retreats or the gatherings or any places where spiritually minded people were celebrating together because um, didn't have the money for it. And then I got a little resentful, where it felt like until you reached a certain economic status, you weren't invited to the party. But the party is, I thought, about enlightenment and about kind of a larger connection to the cosmos and our souls and possibility. So it seemed weird to be excluding people in that manner. Everybody's got their role to play. Anyway, so then I just felt rather not a part of stuff, and I just kept working on my own inner journey and learning the lessons along the way, which is probably for the best. So that's why I named it The Poor Person's Guide to Enlightenment, because there will be no $5,000 retreats. And if there is, there will also be plenty of scholarships so that everybody who's really tried doesn't get the impression that they have to reach a certain economic status before they're allowed to investigate their true nature. It's a free endeavor. It's free to look within and to see what you find and then share that with others. So I do have kind of a different take on how we can do some self-inquiry, specifically because I am gearing it towards poor people. And what I've noticed as a person who's lived in poverty is that it comes with loads and loads of stress and trauma. You will be surrounded by people who are in various stages of stress and trauma, and this can really impact how you view the world. And so if the goal of enlightenment is to get to a level of silence, and in the silence, stillness, and a stillness and silence that you can access at will, and that you can spread, like a peaceful vibe naturally because you know how to access it. Well, that would be really helpful for people, number one. But number two, getting to that, the layers of stillness and silence when you've been encased in trauma and stress and drama and some of the more toxic and pollutive environments that poor people tend to live in. Those are different dynamics that need to be addressed in order to get yourself really clear. And so I want to focus on that. I think I've found a bunch of techniques that work pretty well for reducing like specifically trauma symptoms and dysregulation and those sorts of things. How to just kind of manage your food when so that you're eating as healthy as possible, so that you're getting quiet time, so that you're getting some time to process when you can't stop your life at all for it, and you might have a very hectic life. So we're just going to be carving some spaces out, and one of the things we're going to use is art. Art is a super awesome tool for self-inquiry and for meditation and mindfulness. It's also something, if you have kids, they can do it too. So it isn't going to take away from your family time. It might actually add to it. You can actually maybe teach them as you're going what you're investigating and what you discover. And sometimes the kids are even better at it. If you can do it by yourself with kids, however you got to get it done. so that you're carving some time out to do that self-inquiry and to take a breath, to get the insight that comes with the quiet space of mindfulness. Yoga is great, meditation is great. Having an activity where you get into a flow state, which creativity endeavors, is really helpful, I've found. Especially if you've got a lot a lot of junk swirling around in your mind that you need to silence. So that's the goal. That's what we're going to do with the channel. I'm going to get over this initial hump and just get something out there, and then I'll start uploading regularly with the tips and tricks and ideas, and we'll get into some weird topics too, because why not? And I hope you will join me, and I hope this is great fun, and thank you.